This iconic resort isn't just a place to stay, it is a time capsule. But as you might know, Tropicana is set to close its doors on April 2nd, which is 4 days away as of filming. So this is its very last weekend, the very last few days of operation. I'm Danny702 and welcome to Las Vegas. Today we are taking a trip down memory lane and saying a final farewell to a legend here in Las Vegas. We're here at the Tropicana Las Vegas just a few days before they close their doors forever. The Tropicana sits on the corner of Tropicana and Las Vegas Boulevard, and it's on the very south end of the Las Vegas Strip on a very busy intersection across from the Excalibur, New York, and then the MGM. This intersection has always fascinated me because each hotel on this intersection is so different from the other. You have a medieval castle that opened in 1990, a mini New York City that opened in 1997, and it also has a roller coaster zooming around it. And then you have a huge Emerald City on this corner, which opened in 1993. Then there's the Tropicana, a resort straight out of the 50s. This place has been a fixture on the Las Vegas Strip since 1957, making it the second oldest resort still standing on the Las Vegas Strip, which is pretty astonishing. In the 1950s, Vegas was a whole different scene. The Tropicana was known as the Tiffany of the Strip, known for its luxury service and glamorous vibe. Fast forward to today, and the Tropicana retains that vintage charm. Yes, it's an old resort. It opened over 65 years ago. Yes, it looks a bit rough, especially compared with the modern and new resorts. And yes, there are better options for your Las Vegas stay. But to me, it's a classic beauty, and I have stayed here a few times, so I've got a lot of memories here. But nothing gold can stay, and as much as I wish that they could have just shown the Tropicana a whole lot of loving, I understand that it's time for a change. This is the registration desk. This is where you would check in. Not very many people checking in today, though. What in the world is this? Neon Museum's historian. Share your personal Las Vegas stories, and then it will record and add them to the museum's archive. Ah, that's really cool, especially if you have a memory about the Tropicana. I've always thought this lobby was absolutely beautiful. The high ceilings and the classic architecture make you feel like you've stepped into another era. Its tropical theme is inspired by the original owners of the resort in Miami, and the Tropicana was the 12th resort on the Las Vegas Strip, and it opened with 300 rooms. And this beautiful stained glass ceiling wasn't part of the original design. This was installed in the late 1970s, but it absolutely adds a touch of elegance to the casino floor. At 4,000 square feet, it's a massive undertaking, and rumor has it that special engineering was required to keep it from shaking with all the excitement down below when they were installing it. But of course, no Vegas trip is complete without visiting the casino floor. The Tropicana Casino always had a very relaxed atmosphere to me. Maybe it's because it's not as busy as some of the other casinos in town, but it's definitely easy to get around, and it never felt cramped or smoky. Quite a few machines down currently. Out of service. Like, this whole section is out of service. Out of service. Over here, out of service. All of these are out of service. That is kind of wild to see. Ooh, there's a very eerie feeling over here. Some of the older slot machines. No one walking over here. Oh, one person walking over here. Maybe they're getting ahead of the closure. There's still a bunch of games over there and the other side and in the middle that are still working, but this is freaking crazy. Oh, a couple Bungalows that are still on. They do have a couple of food options here at the Tropicana. The Red Lotus was the Asian kitchen. Looks like that is currently closed as well, but Robert Irvine's Public House is still open. This is probably one of the only options as of now. They do have a couple, or had a couple upstairs. I think one might still be open. This is their sportsbook, a William Hill sportsbook. They also have this area over here. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it says Big Bet Poker Live. Looks like it's been closed down for a little while as well. This is one of their bars where you can get frozen cocktails. If you go in here, you can either go up the escalator and head back towards the back tower, Oh, no, you can't currently. You're gonna have to use the elevator. Oh gosh, even all these are out of service as well. This is also the box office, so you can come over here and get tickets for the shows that they have on site. And now this is the high limit area. Currently a no limit area. Are these all down too? They're still working. Just nobody back here. Nobody working the tables though. The Tropicana always had fantastic shows like Legends in Concert. The legendary Foley's Beguer was a very popular showgirl show here at the Trop. They were here for a whopping 50 years. While that show closed its curtains in 2009, it definitely left an undeniable mark on the Tropicana's legacy. Currently, you'll find MJ Live, which is a really fun tribute show to Michael Jackson. I've actually seen that twice, once over at the Strat, and then we got to see a few weeks ago here. Then there's also Purple Rain, a tribute to Prince. MJ Live is going over to the Sahara. Purple Rain went over to Planet Hollywood. The Laugh Factory is doing their last few shows here at the Tropicana, but then they're going to announce where they're going, so it seems like they have another venue already lined up. The Laugh Factory has been here for a long time. Rich Little, a impressionist, he's been here for a long time too. So you can see they still have shows this weekend. There's a couple other names here. Eddie and I were talking just recently about how I really want to see John Lovitz perform. I'm like, oh, he plays in Vegas all the time. So the day that we came here to see MJ Live happened to be the same day that John Lovitz was playing here. I had no idea that was happening. And as we were just kind of walking through the casino, hanging out, we see John Lovitz walking right by. Eddie says hello to him. I didn't even notice him because he had a little dog with him, and I was like staring at the dog. But that was kind of cool to see John Lovitz at the Tropicana, quote unquote. We could at least say that. I've always loved this view up on the second floor, close to the Laugh Factory. You can get really close to the stained glass. Check out the Ceno below. There used to be a store located right here that was kind of like a Las Vegas gift shop. That is completely gone. And then the walkway that would lead you towards the back tower has had more restaurants. This one here used to be on the right hand side. I believe this was a breakfast spot, if I remember that correctly. And then on the left hand side, now this one is still open. This is like their steakhouse and their fancier restaurant. This one is open at 5 o'clock for dinner only. This used to be full of vendors. You can still see on both sides they still have the kiosks, but nothing is occupying them currently. The last time we were here had to be maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and most of it was also closed at that time. This kiosk though was still full of merchandise. They had like grab and go drinks and things like that, but they are completely cleared out now. It's pretty wild to see this whole walkway, this whole area just pretty bare. Except for it being so lively. This was a resort that I've stayed at twice, but I would come to pretty often. I think the buffet is the next area that I'm showing you. I'm pretty sure it used to be located back here. And this is the spa, and I have a memory of their buffet being in this spot. I could definitely be wrong on that, but I feel like when I was a kid, I can swear that the buffet was here before. I also have sort of a memory of this view. When you would eat, you would look down, of the pool area. I do know that they did have another buffet a little bit more recently in a whole other spot. So they put in the spot here and possibly picked up and moved the whole buffet to another area. I never went to that buffet, so I just have zero memory of that. And I can swear there was an island buffet where that Mandara spa is. And I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that before, and I cannot remember what you guys told me, if I was wrong or not. This is the club tower, and the very first time that I stayed here, I stayed in the front tower when I was a kid. And I came with my friends and their parents. And I really only remember being at the Tropicana, and I basically just remember the hotel room because we were too young to go into the casino. So I have this memory of us just jumping around the room, jumping on the beds, dancing around, basically doing like a whole in-sync concert. And I remember thinking that the people on the street could not see us because when you pull up during the day, you can't see through the windows. But at nighttime, when the light is on inside of the room and you don't have the sun beaming on the window, it's a little different. You can actually see into the rooms. And I remember being so embarrassed thinking, oh my God, all the people on the street probably saw us dancing and doing a whole show. But probably not. No one's paying attention. But now the second time I stayed here, it was my 18th birthday. Came with one of my best friends, Ryan, and we stayed in the back tower. And I remember just having a blast on that trip. We did so much. We hung out at the pool over here. Still wasn't 21. I was only 18, but still had an absolute blast. So this was nice because as soon as you exited the elevators from the club tower, the first thing you see is a coffee stand. The rooms must have a pretty spectacular view. Oh yeah, man, as you go further up, oh, this is so cool. I've been in this elevator before, but how cool is this? It's got a rockin' view. But if you don't have a strip view, you'll probably have a view of the airport. McCarran Airport is right behind it. I've always been a fan of just kind of hanging out and watching airplanes take off or land. There goes Southwest making their way to who knows where. I originally had a room booked at the start of March for a bungalow room, the one area that I have not stayed at before. And it cost me $100 in total, resort fees, taxes included for that room. But I had to cancel, just work and life came up, and postponing it was a huge deal because it got more expensive the closer it got to that close date. So for instance, this weekend, it's about $500 without the taxes and the resort fees added on, which is too bad. I feel like a lot of the people that are staying here this weekend are gonna have some crazy memories and something they can say that they were one of the last people to stay overnight here at the Tropicana. The closure paves way for a brand new $1.5 billion baseball stadium to be built for the Oakland A's. I do have mixed feelings about that, but one thing I was happy about hearing is while the hotel is going to be gone, there are talks of incorporating some of the elements of Tropicana's history into the new development. I always thought this was a really neat place to have a wedding, kind of get that tropical feel out here with all the greenery and the palm trees. I know a lot of people will come to the chapel where they got married on their anniversaries, and so I wanted to definitely come out and at least film the area. Maybe you have some memories if you either attended a wedding or maybe even got married here. Now, I've shown you the Tropicana, I believe, twice before. The first time I did a walkthrough was back in 2018, around when I first started my channel, but I had to show it one last time as it is about 4 days before they close their doors in 2024. Here's some of the bungalows, so it is a bit of a Y shape. These are the ones that I would hope to be in if I stayed here, because the ones facing the strip you can't see very much. They don't go very high up either. There's nothing too exciting directly across the street besides from the parking lot basically, but this view of the pool I always thought is just very pretty. Kind of always enjoyed the spot. This was probably my favorite area of the Tropicana. It's just very lush, a lot of greenery, but just the look of the bungalow, so retro, so vintage Vegas. The pool area had lush landscaping, and I feel like I remember cascading waterfalls at one point. Created a very tropical oasis feel right here in the desert, which definitely fits in with the name Tropicana. I remember there used to be like a swim up bar or maybe a swim up table games, if I remember that correctly, over where it says Tropicana Pool in that area that kind of goes under the building. The day club, I believe, was on the opposite side, and then this side here was for regular hotel guests. As some of these windows are looking pretty darn rough. Some of them look broken even. Check this out. So here's the Tropicana, there's the front tower, here are the bungalows, and then over here will be the back tower. And this is typically part of the parking. They have already set up temporary buildings, construction buildings. They already have a line of construction vehicles. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 excavators getting ready for the demolition. Now they haven't mentioned officially a demolition date. There is a tentative date for October, and they also haven't mentioned whether they're going to be imploding it or if they're going to bring it down brick by brick. Now this is really cool. On the marquee for about the past week, the Tropicana changed it so that it shows the names of their workers. So that just said 50 years of service. It had a couple people listed. Here's 40 plus years of service, and then it just kind of keeps going, 30 plus, 20 plus. I even think there's one for 5 years and under. Huge round of applause to the dedicated employees who made this place special over the years. They are the heart and the soul of the Tropicana. Cheers to all of them and to their next project, along with the future project that's going to be on this property. Thanks so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe for more adventures in Las Vegas and the surrounding areas. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.